Good morning, my dear friends. This is from Prasanna My Talks. In our previous video, we discussed about how to prepare for an examination in a structured way. The link for the previous video is in the description box below. Kindly go through it. In this video, we're going to discuss the subtopic of the previous video. The subtopic is getting familiar with your subjects. Yes, right. So for any preparation, understanding your subject is a key point to go further. So in this mode, you're going to understand your strong areas, your weak areas, where you have to put more effort, where you need minimum effort to score good marks. We're going to go through it. Please stay on with us. As we go ahead, the next point is data collection. Yes, the next important step is data collection. Putting everything together before you start is very important, because when you want all the required things, it is all in one place and doesn't stop you from going ahead. So first thing what we're going to see in data collection is collection of all your previous assignments, notes, tests and question papers. The assignments or notes what you have been taking throughout the year is really important, because your teacher would have highlighted all the required important key points in your assignments, notes, and the test is basically designed to show you what are the important question papers or the questions which is going to be coming in your examinations. Also, revisiting these assignments and test papers is really important, because you will have a fair idea of how your final examination question paper is going to look like. So kindly go through all your assignments, what you've been doing throughout the year, and also revisit the test papers and those important questions which is giving in your past test papers. It is important for yourself to prepare for a mock test. Mock test is setting up an environment of an examination at your own space. Yes, you just have to prepare a question paper for yourself. Probably you can combine the previous test papers of what you have, or use some top questions or important questions from your previous question banks. Prepare yourself for a mock test and write them as you're going to write in your examination. And the next thing is making a journal along with all of this journey. Making a journal is writing all your tough areas or tough subjects or tough topics, and also writing whichever is easier for you. So once you are preparing yourself, while you look at your journal, you can always go back to your teacher for all those doubts clearing sessions, whichever is tougher for you, and the easier ones is something you just have to brush up more to get really good marks on that. So let us go ahead and see the next point. Setting up a realistic goal. Setting up a realistic goal is preparing a timetable or a goal without disturbing your current schedules. Since every day is different for everybody, so some prefer studying in the night and some prefer studying during the day. So according to your schedules, you have to prepare a timetable of 2-hour sessions thrice, so that you can accommodate the timetable as per your schedule without disturbing it. So the timetable has to be scheduled as per your preference of studying. Is it during the night or during the day? You have to divide a 2-hour session thrice a day, so that you can complete your timetables or complete your portions as planned or accordingly. And sticking on to the plan or the schedules religiously is very important. You make a complete plan thoroughly, accommodating all your subjects needs. The number of chapters in math is three chapters to be completed in day 1 in 2 hours. So making this detailed timetable will help you complete number of chapters each day. Accommodatively, this will roll up to completing a subject in a few weeks of time. So this is a very important point. Some people might get confused or might forget lines in between. So you can always reread or reframe the sentences on your own, which is relatively similar to the answer already and which you can remember easily. Reframing the sentences will definitely fetch you marks. You can always write more in your own words, but it has to be very, very relevant to what the standard answer is. A 3-hour session of 2 hours each would look like this. It's just an example. 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the noon and 2 hours in the evening. Preferably this is a very simple timetable split, because it will give you enough breaks in between and it doesn't overlap and it doesn't make you overloaded of studying too much back to back. In between, if you have enough time and if you're feeling relaxed, you can definitely go back and revise. Nobody is stopping you from doing that. Let us see what is our next action item. It's review. So now we have collected all the data, we have put up timetable in place as per our schedule, we are ready to actually go ahead. Before you actually start off, it is important that you review all the data. What you've collected is relative. That is, whatever your data you've collected so far, is it relevant to your current syllabus? You can have a eyeball check and go through the content you have collected together. It might be a question bank. You can just go through the last 10 years question paper and see if it is similar to the syllabus what you are already studying. Comparing with your current syllabus is because there are chances that some of the chapters would have been removed, or there might be additional chapters. So it is always, you're on a safer side if you're comparing all the data whatever you have collected, because you just don't end up wasting time reading a chapter which is already removed from the syllabus. Observe if there are any pattern changes in the question papers. So checking the question paper pattern or understanding the framework of the question paper will make you very familiar with how will the final examination question paper would look like. So kindly observe the pattern changes if there are any in terms of marks. If they have changed the pattern of marking any of the mains in the questions, you can just make a note of it and keep it in your mind. And this is an important note: if there is a different question in the question bank, and you can see the same question will be asked in 2 or 3 ways in couple of other question papers as well, so the answer will remain the same. The question will be a little tricky, so that you can go ahead and get confused and end up not answering it. But you should always be alert and try to map these kind of pattern changed questions which will be across the question banks. Now let us see which is the next point we're going to discuss. Getting familiar with the question paper. Understanding who is your opponent is definitely important in a war. Just like that, in examinations it is always good if you know how your question paper would look like. Understanding the framework. All the question papers would definitely have a framework or a layout, as in standard type of a format. First main will have 1 mark questions, second main will have 10 mark questions, third, this is an example. Similarly, it is very important for you to understand how would your question paper look like. Getting familiar with how marks is allotted is important for understanding how you can score. Which are the mains you can score. High scoring sections is definitely a key. You have to go and see how many questions will be asked in high scoring sections. This will be definitely improve your scoring at once, and all these questions you go through the question banks and all these questions get thorough through with it and bango. Easy scoring sections. These are very tiny little 1 mark questions or 2 mark questions. Very easy to get marks. Get thorough with this. It will be very simple. Get thorough with this and definitely the entire main you can score complete marks. Solve question papers timed one. This is one of my favorites. I'll explain this in detail in the next few slides. Let's go ahead and see which is our next point to be discussing in this slide. Solve as many as question banks you can. Now that we have collected all the data, we have reviewed is it relevant to our subjects, the next thing is first action item. Now we have collected the question banks, we have reviewed, it is current, it is relevant. So now what we have to do is we have to talk to some people from an earlier batch who are our seniors who have scored well, answered question banks. You can probably take inputs from them about which is the question banks they referred, what is the pattern they saw in the question banks, and then talking will always give you additional ideas along with, you can always implement them along with your current ideas. You should always collect at least minimum 10 years of question papers, maybe beyond that. but considering the changes in the syllabus, 10 years would definitely be relevant for your examinations. Compare with your current syllabus. As I already mentioned before a couple of times, this is a very important step in order to understand if the question banks, questions are relevant to your current syllabus, considering the changes which might have happened or which might not have happened. Answer all the questions in the question bank with detailed explanations. You might not stick on to the answers what is given in the question banks, solved question banks. You can probably write answers in your own pattern or in your own style in detail. Suppose if an answer requires a diagram, kindly draw a diagram, label it thoroughly, underline the keywords whichever is necessary in the answer, write in your own pattern. Solving like this will give you complete confidence about how you should write in your examinations as well. Now let us see which is the next point followed by solving question papers, which we are going to discuss. Giving a mock exam. As I already mentioned, this is one of my favorites. Use the toughest question papers whichever you find in the previous question banks, or probably you can mix and match different questions from different question banks and put together and make a question paper for yourself which you feel is very tough. Time your mock exam. You should write a mock examination in a similar way as you're going to face an examination. This will give you an understanding while you are writing your answers. Will the time be enough, or do you have to improve your speed, or do you have to write a detailed note? That will give you a fair idea of how your questions or answers is timed to you. Write the paper thoroughly. Since this is a mock examinations, don't take it lightly. You have to write mock examinations as if you are writing annual examinations. This is a chance where you can actually correct all your mistakes which you might end up doing in your annual examinations. Writing a mock examination timed and in a detailed way as you're writing in annual examinations, you can identify those mistakes and rectify them while you're giving your annual examinations, and do not repeat them. Highlight all the keywords in the answer sheet. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, you are writing the answers as if you're going to write in the final examination only. Probably you can give your mock examination sheet to your teacher in the school, or you can exchange it with a friend and get it corrected to know which are the areas you are really strong. That will give you boost your confidence, and also to highlight which are the areas you will have to work a little bit on. That will give you a fair idea about which are the areas you have to go ahead and study and put more effort. Summarize the answers. After writing all the detailed answers, underlining the keywords, drawing a diagram wherever necessary, you have to summarize the answers in the last while ending the answers. That will give a very good ending to any of the answers, because most of the invigilators would see the pattern of answering. When you start answering, they would see the keywords you have highlighted, you've written a detailed explanation, you've written a diagram when necessary, and you've summarized it. That will make a beautiful answer for that question. Now that we have a fair idea about few of the steps, how to start preparing for examinations, let us see what is our next action item. When to start? We have collated everything, we have reviewed, we have compared, we have checked the question papers, we have checked if it is relative. When do we start? Now. Yes, now we know what to do, in what pattern, what schedule, and what is the timetable. Why do you have to wait? Just start right away. Something is better than nothing. Try to stick on to the schedule always as much as possible. I know days are different, but examination preparation is your ultimate goal. So try and fix yourself to the routine. If you're not able to concentrate, at least dedicate 1.5 hours of that session to study and complete the timetable as much as possible. Clear all your doubts with your teachers or mentors. As soon as you find a doubt or face a doubt, you have made an entry in the journal or a separate book, and all these entries in the journal should be cleared immediately. Probably the best way is you can write answers against those questions in the journal itself, so that whenever you have a similar doubt, you can probably refer to the journal and see there is an answer against each of your doubt or each of your question. It is very important that you clear all your doubts with your teachers or your mentors. You can probably discuss along with your friends if they're having similar doubts. You can sit together with like-minded friends and discuss and clear all your doubts and solve the question papers, write your mock exams, stick on to the timetable religiously. So friends, we have all the details or all the plan in place for our examination preparation. So why wait? Hard work is the only key to success. So kindly stick on to your timetable and the plan, and you will flourish in your examinations. Thank you for your continued support watching Prasanna My Talks. All the best for your examinations. Kindly like and subscribe our channel for more informational videos. Follow us on Twitter @PrasannaTalks18. Also follow us on Insta @PrasannaTalks18. Thank you. Happy watching.